When you think about an accounting system, we're going to kind of talk about cash flow from the very beginning. Where it all starts is with an invoice. So let's step over to our invoices. And of course, you can create an invoice, very simple to do. In this case, we're going to go ahead and just open up an existing one. But one of the nice things that we do when it comes to invoicing with this product is we give you the ability, as you're creating the invoice and as you send it out to your customer, you'll notice down here at the bottom, when that invoice gets to your customer, several options will pop up for them using a credit card. A lot of businesses have an Amex. They love those rewards points. If they have a certain purchasing card, we support most major credit cards, as well as, we also support EFTs or electronic funds transfers. This is proven to get customers paid 2 to 3 times faster because they really like the flexibility, the ease of this, instead of having to, print out an invoice and do the paper check and mail it back and, that whole process. Now they can simply just click on a button, put in their company purchasing card or corporate card, or put in their EFT information, and the invoice is paid. So this is step one, and kind of making chasing accounts receivable just a bit easier. But again, it doesn't stop there. Let's talk about a couple other things. As we mentioned in the middle part of cash flow is really about, automating that workflow. And super excited to talk to you about some of our workflow automations. As you can see here, instead of having your employees tied up, making phone calls, not the highest value work, important work, because you need that cash, you need that invoice to be paid. But how about we have the software help automate that for you? Well, that's exactly what our workflow automation does. And we'll talk about this just a little bit. The way that a lot of my customers have really got excited and benefited from using this is, when it comes to cash flow, we'll just go over here to a custom workflow just to show you a couple of things real quick. But on an invoice, you can send a reminder. So let's say you're 3 days before that invoice is due. You can send a friendly reminder out to your clients or customers and let them know, hey, your invoice payment is due in 3 days. You could also send them a reminder that it's due today. And then maybe a couple or 3 days afterwards, send them a reminder that it's overdue. Again, this is a way that you can have your software automatically chase. And of course, you don't have to use the time frames that I set out. It was just an example. But whatever makes sense for you and your customers and clients, you can simply set up these automated reminders. Every time you create a new invoice, it'll know, hey, 3 days out, day due, 3 days after it's due. And again, now you've just automated chasing your accounts receivable versus, having to pick up the phone and have your staff focused on that. Free up their time and help them go do more important things for the business. But lastly, we want to talk about how do we help you out when it comes to managing cash flow, as well as, putting in some of those predictable upcoming expenses, or even, maybe you're thinking about doing something. Maybe you're thinking about expanding to a second location, or maybe, there's something. How do you take all that into account? Well, right here, you'll notice there's a cash flow. And this cash flow versus the planner, let's just talk about the two, how they're different for a real quick second. This is your actual cash flow. This is feeding in from your bank accounts. It's taking into consideration things like bills, receivables, payables, all that. And this is your actual real cash flow and a little bit of a trend line. But when we go into planner, this is where it gets really exciting. This is a sandbox environment. Whatever you do in here doesn't affect your books. It's really just for you to do just what it says, sit down and plan out different scenarios. Well, how do you plan out those scenarios and see how it's going to affect your cash flow? Well, here you can see where you can add an item. And the nice thing about this is it doesn't just have to be expenses. I think a lot of people do use it for expenses, but sometimes you're going to land that next big customer contract or that really big client that you've been working on for 6 months or maybe a couple years. And that's really exciting. So you can either put the amount of money in that's going to be coming to you. So let's say we just landed a $75,000 contract. That's awesome. We definitely want to take that into account on our cash flow, and we can do that there. But let's say we know we have some money out expenses, and this could be all sorts of things. Maybe you need new printers for the office. Maybe you need a new fleet truck. Maybe you're opening up to that second location. But just to keep it simple and to show a little bit of the flexibility here, let's say that you want to buy a new fleet truck for your business, and you're not going to buy it all at one time. You want to, again, spread out that cash flow. So you can even set up a monthly payment. You can put how often this is going to happen. Did you finance it for 48 months, whatever the case may be, 60 months? What's the monthly payment? Okay. And so now you could actually set this up, and then this will, again, go into your cash flow and tell you, hey, by adding these expenses, by adding this income, how am I going to look? And again, it's not hitting any of your books. It's not, it's just that really nice environment for you to get that forward-looking view into some what-if scenarios for your business. So I love that. And these tools really do help you to be more proactive. So thank you.